And we're live. Hi, everybody. Dane Dormio here. Thank you for joining us on the Chai Tea Tai Chi web show today. I am interviewing a great friend. I've been looking forward to this opportunity for quite some time. TW, his friends call him T. Durfy is somebody who kind of goes against the stereotype of qigong being weak and wimpy, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to talking about. But he is a personal trainer and weight loss specialist, licensed massage therapist, and a successor of the Hoshin Roshi Ryu system of martial arts and esoteric energy, which is a pretty interesting system that I'm looking forward to hearing more about. And in addition to being a bodybuilder, he also teaches the soft arts of meditation and qigong, and so I'm really curious to hear your perspective on how all of this blends together. So T, thanks for being here. How are you this evening?
Absolutely. I am great, brother. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure being here.
Awesome. So there's a few angles I want to get into, but I think that the best place to start is with the when we first connected, the first thing I noticed was I think you had just put out a qigong course, like maybe a series of videos or a course on qigong, but here's this like ripped, hulked out dude, and it's so against the stereotype of like a flowery little old man, light as a feather, who's teaching these soft internal energy arts. And there's what's really interesting about it, if you understand the concepts in internal martial arts, is the concept of refined strength and clumsy strength. Refined strength, which is ging or jing, and clumsy strength, which is li. And in internal martial arts, these are considered to be kind of two opposite things. And li strength, refined strength, is kind of using 4 ounces to deflect 1,000 pounds, and that sort of thing. Whereas or the ging strength, refined strength. Whereas li strength or clumsy strength would be considered to be like the kind of strength you get from lifting weights and building big muscles. So I love how you're just a living illustration that these are not contradictory and opposite things, and they actually can go together in the same human being.
Yeah, no, and it's so true. I tend to be a walking contradiction in many senses of the term. And back before I even got into the bodybuilding and the wanting to refine my physique and all of that, I had been studying martial arts. And I remember when I first started going to the gym, the first thing my instructor said is, number one, your pain tolerance is going to go down tremendously, so you watch out for that. And number two, your energy is going to suffer if you do this the wrong way. Because a lot of people go into things, whether it be martial arts, whether it be working out, with now back then in the late 90s, we didn't have this much technology at our fingertips and Facebook, where everybody is an expert on absolutely everything. I must have missed the memo that when you sign up for Facebook, you automatically get your doctorate and your law degree, and you're able to tell everybody what they should do, and this is the best thing, and you really have no business telling people all of that. So it was a struggle because I knew that no matter what, I wanted to keep all of the internal energy and the flow and the what made me feel good by trying to refine my physique. So it really did take a lot of trial and error um, to be able to feel how differently you have to work on your energy flowing through your body when your muscle starts to get tighter, and what you have to stretch and what you have to work on in your body mechanics suffering if certain things start tightening up and you lose your flexibility. So it was definitely it was a struggle to get that balance.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that, because one way to look at qigong is, I think of it as the oldest flow state technology, and it's essentially a human performance enhancement tool, that a set of principles that can be applied to any area of life. So so how do those the principles of softness and relaxation and sensitivity apply? How do you apply those to, as you said, crafting your physique and lifting weight and building strength in the traditional sense?
Oddly enough, right? Oddly enough, so many of the Qigong principles that my instructor was teaching me is what made it easier to build the physique I wanted to, because number one, my instructor was very big on staying in your power zone. Whereas if, let me see if I can get on camera, where if you're hyperextended, you're out of your power zone. If you're too far in, you're still out of your power zone. So to keep things in your power zone, number one, it was teaching me to keep my energy focused where I needed it to be. But also, it helped me really get that mind-muscle connection and isolate each individual muscle. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, when you walk into the gym and you see these wannabe juice monkeys that have absolutely no idea about body mechanics, internal arts, not much of anything. All they're doing is throwing weights around, trying to lift the heaviest they can lift. Their form is absolutely horrible. So not only are they going to really get just tight and clumsy, but they're also not being able to focus on the muscle in question. When you start doing these huge movements and you're going out of your power zone, you are also taking the focus muscle to train. So going back to how the Qigong really helped me isolate things was, and along with the massage therapy and studying kinesiology and muscle actions and physiology, is I was able to focus that energy exactly on the body part I was trying to work. So I didn't have to be like one of those wannabe gorillas and put hundreds of pounds on the bar, which I really had no business doing. I was able to put lighter weight, but stay in the power zone, focus on that muscle, and get so much better of hypertrophy and growth, while not getting so bulky and massive and clumsy that it messed with my taijutsu and my qigong.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're saying that the principles of sensitivity and structure or alignment and and efficiency really go a long way, as well as the sort of body coordination or body unity of being able to use the whole body together in an efficient way, as well as being able to isolate and kind of control individual in individual parts, like individual muscles, in a more minute, discrete way, having that kind of range of ability to work with your body, and which comes out of qigong. That I mean, it sounds kind of obvious when you talk about it. Like, of course, that would apply to weightlifting and bodybuilding.
Right. But nobody thinks about it because it's like you said, it's such a walking contradiction that nobody really thinks about how to put those two elements together and work in harmony. They just think, well, they're two separate things. And even though I want to work on my martial arts, I really do want to look like this. So, you know what, I'm just going to have to do this and hopefully this won't suffer. Instead of stepping back and thinking, okay, we're comprised of three things. We're comprised of body, mind, and spirit. How can we do one thing without making the other two suffer? How can we get this to work in harmony? Which, as you know, it's our whole purpose. You know, for Qigong, if one part of that trinity, so to speak, is out of whack, you're really going to have a difficult time with not only energy flow, but having the energy flow to where you intend it to.
Yeah, and that, to me, that idea of using, well, of combining all parts of one's being into the same activity is really huge, because you, it can seem to be a very persistent illusion that you have to give up this thing in order to do this. Like, if you know, to be spiritual, you have to spend a lot of time sitting still and neglect your physical body. Whereas,
right.
You know, Qigong is includes that. It also includes the slow, gentle movement and the breath work, and it also can, includes the sitting, the stillness, the deep meditation, as well as the slow, gentle movements and the breath work. And it can also include the vigorous calisthenics and physical activity as far up the spectrum as you like. All of that can be combined into it. It's not breath work, exercise, meditation as separate activities. It's breath work, exercise, meditation, all as a single activity. And you can take that so many places.
And it's, yeah, and you really need to, how I love to explain it is, you know, so you have body, you have mind, you have spirit. What if you have a great body, but your mindset is horrible? What if you just spent a couple $100,000 on a Lamborghini with a bum engine, right? You're going to have an awful lot of fun sitting at the side of the road admiring your beautiful brand new Lamborghini. But what's under the hood is not going to give you that joy that you wanted from buying that dream car. So when you think about it like the human body, if something's wrong in the mind and the spirit suffers, you're not going to be able to fix anything down here. You know, and I run into it with new clients all the time, because they when I'm sure you do also with training people, they want the end result, but they want it yesterday. They want that end result, but they don't truly want to work for it because something up here, you know, it's you know, a consultation isn't a substitute for mental hygiene, you know. So that's why whenever I work with someone, I really want to know, okay, what is it? What's your end game? Really, what is going to make you the happiest, most fulfilled, abundant person in the world? And then when they tell me what they want, my next question is, okay, why? Because once you know that why, it will explain everything that's really going on about them. And then I truly will be able to tell if I really am the right person to help them help themselves. You know, because it's, you know, as an example, if you say, I really need to lose X amount of weight, I need to lose this body fat in 3 months. Okay, why do you need to lose that amount of body fat in 3 months? Oh, well, you know, I started gaining a little weight in the midsection, and I really want to pick up girls at the beach. So if you could help me get abs in 3 months, you know, I think that'll make me feel really good. No, as opposed to, well, T, I just got back from the doctor, and the doctor told me that I'm pre-diabetic and I am one hamburger away from a heart attack. I see what you do with people. Please help me. Yes. Yes, I will do absolutely everything I can for you. That's why it's so important to know the why. And we all have dreams, we all have desires, we all have goals, but that doesn't mean our motive for that goal is pure. You know, and I think that's why I put such a heavy emphasis on the meditation and the qigong and because we need to make sure that you're doing everything for the right reason.
I'm glad you went there, because and it's weight loss specifically, because this is something that I wanted to ask you about too. And it I think it ties in with the actually the name of your meditation course is Meditation and Mindset Mastery, right? The upcoming meditation course you're going to release is Meditation and Mindset Mastery, because I
added the mindset too.
Yeah, to me,
I added the mindset to expand it and to make it a little bit more to demystify and really explain what we're trying to do for you.
It's two things that kind of are not always associated with each other, but they do very much go together in the sense of like meditation is training the mind. So training the mind to make it do what you want instead of you doing what it wants, essentially. So this obviously runs through all elements of behavior change, habit formation. But the issue of weight loss specifically is something that I wanted to ask you about, because one thing that's something you do, and I think it's great, the approach that you described that you're taking is it's about helping people improve the quality and quantity of their lives. You know, that's what it is really about is somebody who stands to gain huge benefits from losing a large amount of weight are the specific people that you work with. But when it comes to weight loss in general, whether it's a large amount or a small amount, that's not something that people usually think of qigong or tai chi or these kind of soft arts in relation to. When people think when I lose weight, that means I'm going to do calisthenics and cardio and these kinds of vigorous exercises. And so I'm curious, in your experience and in your work, is with the weight loss work that you do, is there a place in there, like does qigong and gentle movement have a place in that? Is that part of that process, and if so, how does it play in?
Yep, a couple ways actually. Number one, I am a huge fan of telling people to look, if you're going to do some kind of physical activity, any kind of physical activity, and especially when you are first starting to work with me, you probably haven't done much physical activity in quite some time. And you know as well as I do, whether it's soft arts, whether it's lifting weights, you want to prime the body for whatever you're doing. Even when you're just sitting down to meditate, you want to make sure that your thoughts are pure, that your thoughts are positive. You're still priming the body for the activity that you're about to do. And I actually learned an incredible physical Qigong warm-up that includes silk reeling and tendon changing as a way to softly loosen up a new client's body for whatever activity that I'm going to be having them do. So that's the first way I love to incorporate it. And what's great is they're doing Qigong, but they don't necessarily know they are. It's like they're learning it and they're bettering themselves and they're improving their energy, they're improving their flexibility, they're improving their energy flow. But the beauty of it is they're not thinking so deeply into it. They're actually going to be able to follow it. They're going to be able to get good at it. And then one day when we explain it, they're going to say, well, damn, who knew? You know, because you know as well as I do, overthinking is evil. Overthinking on any sense, at the very least, cause analysis paralysis and just you end up saying, to hell with this, I'm done. Right?
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it could just rob you of joy for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the entire day, because you are worrying about not doing something correctly. So it's a great way that I love to introduce them to the physical aspect of Qigong without them having to think about it. Because sometimes when you say that to somebody and it's foreign to them, that's why I never like to use too technical of terms in terms of explaining things. I don't like to even talk about Kundalini unless they specifically use that.
For people who are afraid of meditation,
you know, I try to use very.
Don't even think about meditating. Just call it quiet time. We're gonna have quiet time.
Yep, it's peace and quiet. You know, so it's just like, hey, what are you doing? You're doing a warm up so that whatever workout I have you do, you're not gonna hurt yourself. But it's incorporating tendon changing and breath work and silk reeling. You know, so that's the first way. And the second way that I like to include Qigong is through the meditation. And why I called it meditation and mindset mastery is, again, to kind of demystify it a little bit for people who you may start losing if you use terms that they've never heard before. Because when you commit to me, I commit to you, and you have me on the hook 24/7 as long as we're working together. I tell my clients right off the bat, you are never a bother to me. So please don't think that you can't reach out to me as many times during the day as you need to. You know, don't think you are you're overstaying your welcome. You're contacting me too much. No, I love when you contact me because I would rather you ask me right then and there and I correct you rather than you say, you know what, I don't want to bother T. And then you do something wrong and you could be getting such incredible results, but you're just uncomfortable communicating, you know. So I always teach them deep belly breathing. And a lot of the reason for it is that, again, a lot of my clients, they haven't been doing this kind of activity for a long time. Some of them don't think it's possible to reach their goal because they've either tried fad diets, horrible in-gym personal trainers or online trainers, Nutrisystem, Slim Fast, you know, and are coming to me as a last resort. So they're already in that quasi-negative mindset. They want to believe that I can help them, but they still have that little bit of, I've tried everything before. What's this going to be? How is this going to be different? So the first thing I like to do is teach them, okay, look, if you were to move anywhere in the East right now, they would tell you that they think you are panting because of how many breaths the average American takes per minute. And once I start teaching them that deep belly breathing and to stop taking everything up into your chest, bring it down, calm down, slow your breathing down, immediately they start to feel that little bit of a stress relief that they might not have felt in a long time. And then I also give them the Dr. Morris referred to it as the secret smile. I know in the Universal Tao, it's called the cosmic inner smile. And it's just the way of developing those positive feelings and being able to feel good at a moment's notice. Because I tell my clients, even though I'm sure you can tell, my personality comes out in everything I do, and I have a sense of humor, and I like making people laugh, and I like making people feel comfortable. But I tell them, if you are outside of a Carvel at 9 p.m. at night, you're outside of Dairy Queen and you need me to talk you off the ledge, I'm here for you, right? So on the same token, when I teach them to center themselves, start your breathing, close your eyes, think of a time that you were incredibly happy, hold on to that feeling, and start leading them through a little bit of the secret smile, it's almost like a whole new world opens up for them, and they think that you just did the most insane magic that David Copperfield never would have been able to show them. So in that sense, that's the second way that I like to incorporate the meditation and the Qigong into the weight loss, because it really is all mental. If you believe you're going to make those changes, you will. But if there's any bit of doubt, you're going to be fighting with yourself the entire time.
Yeah, the principles of body regulation, breath regulation, and mind regulation are universal and inseparable. So, this is it's interesting that we're talking about Qigong, because Qigong itself is so broad. I mean, mind regulation, breath regulation, body regulation are in a lot of things. And I think one of the great things about Qigong is there's
and I think it's really all the way of
well, what I think is one of the things that I think is really interesting about Qigong is the proliferation of lineages and styles, and I'm curious to hear about yours, because it's from on the surface it seems kind of interesting and contradictory in a sense, because I'm pretty sure Hoshin Roshi Ryu is a Japanese name, but you're talking about learning Qigong, which is Chinese, and Kundalini awakening, which is from the Vedanta tradition. So, tell us a little bit about this particular lineage and what makes it unique. And I also and when I say lineage, I mean lineage in a legitimate sense, as in you're very highly accomplished and ranked in this lineage, and there's a great story behind it. So I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. So when I was, 15, we had a family friend who was in college at the time. I was, junior in high school, and he knew that I was studying Japanese jiu-jitsu. And as the fragile male ego of going through puberty, right? He had to prove his dominance and say, well, jiu-jitsu's okay, but I study under this guy, Dr. Morris, and he teaches ninjutsu. And the first thought I had was, so you pulling some Michael Dudikoff crap on me? You're pulling an American Ninja, or are you serious? And he said, no, man, I'm serious. And for about a half hour, I was kept in extreme pain in the living room of the house that we were living in as he was demonstrating, uh, some of these techniques that blew me away, because it didn't look like he was doing anything. And all of a sudden I was looking up at the ceiling, and I have no idea how I got there. I don't know why my back of my knee was hurting. I didn't know why it felt like my trachea was collapsed. And it opened up this whole new world. And he said, well, Dr. Morris just released his first book, but don't read it. There's stuff in there you shouldn't know. So young, this and that and the other thing. So the next day I asked my mom to take me to Barnes and Noble, Of course, just totally not even thinking, the hell with you. I want to know who this guy is, It was called Path Notes of an American Ninja Master by Dr. Glenn Morris. And I picked the book up, and I honestly, being 15, did not understand half of it. But all I knew is I got to meet this guy. I want to learn more. And in a nutshell, it explained how he created Hoshin. He was a student of Dr. Masaki Hatsumi from Bujinkan Ninjutsu. And that was where his martial training came from. He was a Shidoshi in the Bujinkan under Hatsumi Sensei. The thing with the Bujinkan is, in the curriculum, they really don't teach the energy and internal arts. So that's why Dr. Morris went to the Universal Tao. He studied with Mantak Chia. He studied with Dr. Yang Jingming, and tried to learn all he could about the internal arts. And he ended up telling Hatsumi Sensei, I can't in my right mind teach the martial without the esoteric. And with Hatsumi's blessing, that's why Doc would teach Hoshin, Roshi, Ruju, Taijutsu when he was in America, because he was able to teach 50% of the art being the martial aspect from Bujinkan, and 50% of the art with everything that he learned esoterically with the Universal Tao, with Master Yang Jingming, and just really wanting to make his students a complete human being, so to speak. And all of the levels that he had in Hoshin are all based on the Godai and the chakras. So we have earth, water, fire, wind, and then first degree black belt. And when you're working on earth techniques, you're working on the first chakra opening. You go to water belt, you raise up a notch. Now you're working on the hara and the second chakra opening. Fire belt, you're going up to the solar plexus, and so on and so forth. And that's what really opened my eyes to healing the internal arts. That's what made me go to school for clinical massage therapy. And it really just kind of snowballed from there, because everything was so intriguing for me that you don't believe it until you experience it. And once you experience it, you're blown away, of what the mind and the body is truly capable of, with the proper focus and the proper training.
So, where does the Kundalini awakening come into the picture? Because
that is something you mentioned,
that's why and I also know you put together a meditation course for this. So how does this enter into it?
Mm-hmm. I structured the course just like Dr. Morris taught us, meaning in order to experience a Kundalini awakening, and I hate even using the term just because so many people don't really understand what it is, and I just try to explain it to people saying, you have never experienced your full potential until you have released that energy that you have stored in your body. You have such an untapped resource that lives at the base of your spine, and you will have such an incredible awakening if you can learn to release that energy and have it go up through your entire body. So I structured the course just like Doc taught us, where first start from the ground up and start working on the root chakra. You start working on earth techniques. And once that opens up, then you can move it up a little bit. And then you can start working on the second chakra. And it's so on and so forth. And we do it through different guided meditations, different thought patterns, different sending the energy to different areas of the body through different visualizations, and really fun. One of the really fun exercises is Damo's Cave, that was specifically geared towards martial artists, but we were able to incorporate a lot of visualizations to make it really beneficial to really anyone who wants to open their mind and embrace creativity and really learn more about themselves, both internal and external. And we take it through, I make sure that I say during the audio course, please do not go on to the next exercise until you feel that this has happened already. Because if you have a blockage between, say, the water chakra and your throat chakra, that energy is still going to be stagnant. It's not going to be able to go up there. So we've structured it in a way to work on each chakra in succession in order to open this chakra. Now you can work on the next. Let that open. Now you can work on the next until you finally are able to get all the way up to the crown and then run the microcosmic orbit.
So this is a very powerful stuff you're talking about, and I love how we are running the gamut here from the sort of the very physical, from bodybuilding and weightlifting, to the very esoteric of developing and moving energy in your body, and how this is all integrated into just a single thing. It can't be separated when you get right down to it. How can people contact you if they want to work with you? What do you suggest for people who want to learn more about this stuff?
Absolutely. I love talking to people directly. I don't believe in sending somebody through a secretary, sending somebody through, a bot. If you contact me, they're going to hear from me. So I will give you actually a link to my personal calendar, and I am happy to make myself available for any strategy sessions that anybody would need, just right from the link. I love to do it through either Zoom, Facebook Messenger. I love talking to people face to face. It's so much more personal than getting on the phone and just hearing empty words. And Facebook, I will talk to absolutely everybody. So please find me on Facebook, T.W. It's my personal Facebook page. I answer everybody. I promise you, nobody else has my password. You're going to be talking to me. So yeah, please, I'm happy to help in any way I can. Just contact me directly. You don't have to go through any other sources.
Awesome. And you for the personal training, as you mentioned, you do it online, so people anywhere can work with you in that way.
Right.
And also as you have a launch coming up, this guided meditation course that is going to be released when?
It's going to be released September 9th.
Okay, awesome. So coming up in a couple of weeks, about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
you'll have this these esoteric, energetic teachings released in the form of an audio course that people can listen to, and actually it actually takes them through this whole process of energetic awakening.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And the reason why I did it as the audio course is it's so that it'll be available to more people. I know that especially in this day and age, inflation and everything is getting more and more expensive. And I didn't want to outprice somebody who really wants to learn this. I didn't want that to be a factor. So it's not something that you're going to have to do one-on-one coaching with me in order to learn this. No, I put absolutely every single guided meditation that Dr. Morris taught me on audio, disc 1, disc 2, disc 3, disc 4, from start to finish. So by the end of that, you will know pretty much everything that Doc has taught me up until the day he passed, may he rest his soul. Everything will be just laid right out for you. And also, I would love to hear feedback. I love hearing from people. If you have any questions during the course, I'm more than happy to answer them. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty easy to talk to. So please never feel intimidated or anything to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to.
Yeah, at least until you start to get internet famous, and then you might have to set some boundaries. But until then,
I don't know how quickly that's going to happen, because I try not to ever use filters or Photoshop, and so I don't Kardashian myself out. I try and be the everyman. So we'll see. It's not on the fast track to Instagram followers like that. The authentic doesn't really win out from Photoshop these days.
I love that there's so much overlap here, and there's lots of topics that I know would be really fun to explore, but we'll keep this bite-sized and digestible. And there's always the next conversation. I know there's a lot of we have a lot of very similar inspirations in terms of our background and our influences, and there's a lot of fun territory there that I look forward to exploring as our relationship continues to evolve. Yeah, and
absolutely, there's a lot of doors we can go down.
Yeah, I know. I want to say thank you personally, just for being such a big-hearted guy, for being so open and generous and authentic, and the way that has shown up from the moment we first connected, and I see it in everything that you do. So I'm really glad to have this opportunity to talk about some of these ideas that are universal, and that I like to say this stuff these are the master keys for transforming ourselves individually and collectively transforming society, transforming the world. So I appreciate you doing this work and helping others along the path.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, brother. It was a pleasure. I am kicking myself that it took me so long to have something good for you so we could jump on together. But, hopefully it won't be the last time. I really had a blast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's evolutionary. I will look forward to talking again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this lifelong mind-body mastery journey. Bye.